You know, we saw the Joe Biden new rollout after the DNC, and we thought this was supposed to be Biden turning over a new leaf. And then Biden was supposed to start coming out and giving speeches more. And he was shamed into giving a speech about the violence in Kenosha by radical mobs and the violence that's been going on across the entire summer of 2020, 33 Americans dead. But that was going on that he completely didn't address at the DNC. So he was shamed into that speech. That was shame. However, there were two things that Biden did today that show he's getting even worse. The first, believe it or not, was an ad. So this comes from the campaign. When he attacked President Trump for holding up a Bible in front of a church, a historic church that had been set on fire in our nation's capital. He said that Trump was fanning the flames, when in reality, he showed a video of President Trump standing in front of a church that had been set on fire holding a Bible. Trump wasn't the person who set that church on fire. All right, and this was an ad. This was not a gaffe. This was not something, a memory issue. This was something that happened pre-planned, scripted. So apparently Biden thinks that you shouldn't defend churches that get set on fire. I don't know how else to explain it, because that's his ad. He's the one who's got to explain it to me as a Christian father, right? And a Christian head of a household. He's got to explain that to me, what his position is on church burnings, because now I'm not really sure what it is. I don't know what the point is that he was making in that video. Why would you attack anyone for that? Why would you mock Christianity? You already chose an anti-Catholic bigot as your running mate. That was number one. I noticed that she's disappeared. Where did Kamala go? Hashtag where's Kamala? Gone, right? So she's disappeared, and they're trying to roll Biden back out, and it's getting bad, and it's getting worse. And then today, Biden went out in Wilmington, Delaware, and he was asked about some of the recent violence, and he talked about the Trump supporter who was murdered on the street in Portland. But that's not what Joe Biden said. Joe Biden called him, the Trump guy. Oh, yeah, the Trump guy. That's all he is. So he's atomizing that person down to someone who has no humanity other than his political leanings. Someone who was a son, someone who lived a life here in the United States, was a U.S. citizen. But no, he's just that Trump guy. Doesn't even know his name. Wouldn't even say his name. Aaron Danielson wouldn't even say his name. And then what he did that was even worse. Hold on. And to block a troll. What was even worse was that he lied. He not only did he dismiss the life of the Trump supporter who was executed, he lied about what happened. Now look, I understand there's other people who disagree with what Kyle Rittenhouse did. And I understand that there's people on both sides of that debate. But don't lie about what happened, right, with Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse didn't fire into a crowd, right? That's a lie. Just tell the truth. And actually, the New York Times got it right. And so I got to give credit where it's due, because they got it right. You describe what takes place on the video. But Biden lied. Biden was talking about paintball guns, and he was talking about riding around in vans and trucks. Go look at the video. That's not there. He's trying to conflate events, twist things together, conflate events, twist things together to justify a cold-blooded murder. The caravan had stopped. It was over. It was over by the point that the murder took place. This was someone who was walking down the street wearing a Blue Lives Matter flag and wearing a hat that certain people didn't like. He wasn't threatening anyone. He wasn't provoking anyone. In fact, even when he was challenged by the group that targeted him, he sprayed mace on them to try to protect himself. So congratulations, Joe Biden. You just put a target on the back of every Trump supporter in America. Because now you're sending a message to the violent anarchists that it's okay to murder someone in the street. And if you do, we'll cover for you. We'll spread disinformation. We'll spread propaganda to cover up what you did, to make people maybe think there's some kind of moral equivalence there. And this isn't some like academic point that I'm making. Someone actually was killed in the street, and Joe Biden is lying about it. Someone was actually murdered in the street, and Joe Biden is lying about it. He's making things up. This is sick, it's disgusting, it's shameful, and it's disgraceful. Because Joe Biden is now spreading lies about the murder of his own political opponents. This is third world stuff, folks. This is Banana Republic stuff. It's victim blaming. It's complete victim blaming. It's what Joe Biden did. That's, if you want to call it apologism, if you want to call it victim blaming, right? It's the guy got murdered, and Biden's trying to shift the blame on someone else, onto him. The blame lies with the man who pulled the trigger, the people who lied to police afterwards, and everything else. So this is more than just a fact check. I'm not just fact checking. I'm pointing out that either they have to, and I don't know what they're going to do, because if you're the campaign, if you're the Biden campaign right now, what do you do? How do you respond to something like this? You're a staffer, right? You're a staffer, and you see that your boss is up there lying about the execution of a Trump supporter in the street. You have two options. Well, really three options. Number one, don't say anything. Don't do anything. Because the media won't fact check them on that. Trump said something like that, every fact checker would be all over him. You wouldn't be able to post about it on Instagram. You wouldn't be able to post about it on Facebook. They'd ban you all across social media, right? That's what happened if Trump did that, or any Trump supporter. If I did that, if I got up here and started lying about something that happened, ban me. Done. Ban the post. They'd say, fact check. But when Joe Biden does it, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, conservative media, One American News, Breitbart has a piece up, we'll call them out. But left-wing media, no, nothing. And so, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Will there be a fact check? Prove me wrong. Because I haven't seen one yet. But if there is one, we'll see. Show me that fact check, and I'll retweet it. I will gladly retweet it. But for right now, I haven't seen it. Next, the other option is you say, you know what? We'd like to issue a correction. Obviously, what he meant to say was this. So you issue a correction. Or Or, and this is worse, or you admit that he misspoke. You admit that he got confused. You admit his level of confusion. So what do you do? What do you do? Do you let the lie stand? Do you try to correct it? Or do you admit that Biden was confused? And if you're the Republican Party right now and you don't make an issue out of this, out of one of your own members being slaughtered in the street, then what does that say? You know, they say know your worth. They say know your worth. If you're a Republican, if you're a Trump supporter, you should be outraged right now. You should have righteous indignation right now. Because the opponent in the election just got up and essentially said that your life doesn't matter. He downplayed the lives of Trump supporters. Oh, the Trump guy. Well, I heard he was shooting paintballs or something. So not only did he downplay it, but he lied. Yeah, I heard he was shooting rubber bullets and paintball guns. No, is there evidence of that? Has anyone seen it? I've asked around. I talked to video journalists. I scrolled through myself. I looked at the New York Times reporting. I looked at left-wing reporting. I looked at right-wing reporting. I haven't seen any evidence of that whatsoever. And if there is, show it to me. If there is any evidence of Aaron Danielson provoking them, please show it to me, and I'll happily share it. Everybody knows, like, people get mad. People get mad that I stand up for the truth and I don't pander to either side. Like when I debunked that 6% thing that's going around lately, right? There were people that were mad that I stood up for the truth there. There were people that said, but Jack, we don't want coronavirus to be around anymore, and we don't want it to be a big thing. And if this were true, it would reduce all the numbers and it would make Trump look good because it would show that the U.S. had a better death toll in coronavirus than actually everyone was saying. So if we run with this narrative, it'll make Trump look good. I said, sorry, guys, that's not what it says right here. That's not what it says. You got to stand up for the truth. You have to stand up for the truth. That's not, you're misreading what the CDC said. You're taking it out of context. And so I got to debunk it. Because that's what we do around here. All right. I'm not here to pander to you. I am not here to hold your hand and tell you everything is going to be okay. If you want that kind of content, if you want to go hang out with the hopium dealers out there, the TikTok crowd, you can go follow any of the hopium dealers. There's plenty of them out of there. There's absolutely plenty of people out of there that will tell you. In 2018, I told you that the Republicans would lose the House. All right, I said that. I said it all year. I said the Republicans will lose the House at this rate. I said it over and over. And people accused me of all sorts. They called me fake MAGA. They called me fake. They called me a liar. They said, you don't know what you're talking about. They said, you're crazy. You're making up stuff. You're a traitor to the movement, right? And then what happened? Got to stand up for the truth, folks. You got to stand up for the truth, even when it's a hard truth. And there you go. But I do stand up for the truth, and I pray. I always pray. So I'm standing up for the truth again, and I'm saying, Joe Biden, what you did today is unacceptable. You do need to apologize. Your campaign needs to put out a statement, and Republicans need to press them on this issue. The same way that it is going to be up to Mike Pence on that debate stage when he's up there with Kamala Harris to ask her the question, why did you donate to violent rioters? The Minnesota Freedom Fund. Why did you do that? Why did you direct payments to violent rioters and people who had committed violent crimes? These were not peaceful protesters. Why did you donate to them? Why did your staff? And Mike Pence has to do that. You saw these. We've seen the speakers up there. We know they're not going to do it. They're not even part of this. It has nothing to do with them. It has nothing to do with them. They're there to hold Biden's hand, the moderators. They're there to hold Biden's hand and try to get him through these things. The debates are about Biden and Trump, and the VP debate is going to be between Pence and Harris. It's as simple as that, folks. The Republican Party and the Trump campaign needs to stand up for the truth. They need to call these people out on their lies, and they need to stand up for the lives, the very lives of their own supporters. And President Trump has. So let's see the rest of them do it. Let's see if they can learn. Let's see if they can understand that the stakes absolutely matter this time. This is a real question about the direction of our country and the direction of our civilization that's going on right now. How are we going to answer it? As always, ladies and gentlemen, you have my permission to lay ashore.